It might be time for the Dodgers to move on from Kyle Tucker. Dodgers fans are sick of talking about him. Make a decision. Looks like it'd be the Mets or the Blue Jays. Are the Dodgers still in the mix? We'll talk about that. Also, the Lakers snapped their 3-game losing streak. LeBron reveals his insane pregame game day routine. The Austin Reaves clutch sports drama takes another twist, another turn. We're also talking about some trades. Could Kuminga be a Laker? Could Klay Thompson end up in the purple and gold? We got the top 5 OC candidates for the Chargers after they fired Greg Roman, and the 2028 Olympics. They're coming pretty quick, and tickets became available. We'll tell you everything you know about the 2028 LA Olympics. That's coming up next on the LA Sports Report.
LA is the sports capital of the world. The Lakers have entered their Luka Doncic era. LeBron doesn't just want a farewell tour, he wants a farewell title. The Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. Go, Kings, go. The Dodgers are the best run franchise in all of professional sports. Shohei Ohtani is the GOAT. Steve Ballmer will do anything to get the Clippers a championship. Mick Cronin has to win a national championship at UCLA. Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback in this league. College football is just better when USC is good. This whole city has the Mamba mentality. I love LA.
Live from the heart of Los Angeles, this is the LA Sports Report with your host, Doug McKain.
What is up, and welcome to the LA Sports Report, your show for all LA sports, not just Dodgers, not just Lakers, but everything. If it's happening in Los Angeles, we're talking about it. The 2020 Olympics. Everything you need to know if you want to attend. We're talking Chargers, we're talking Dodgers, we're talking Rams. Also, a new logo and a new team in Long Beach, a new baseball team. So much to get into here on this jam-packed show. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. I've covered LA sports for over a decade. Little of the soil. That's why this is my passion project, the LA Sports Report. We needed one place where all LA fans could get together and talk about their favorite LA teams. And we see the comments growing. We see the subs growing, trying to get to 6,000 subscribers. So hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and even to support every single episode, hit the like button and drop a comment down below. This is a live stream. Anything you got, hot takes, strong opinions, bold opinions, we're going to feature them on this show. So definitely be a part of the chat. All right, lots to get into. Going to start with the Lakers. The purple and gold, they snapped their 3-game losing streak. They blow out the Atlanta Hawks. They did build up a 31-point lead that it did look like for a minute that they were going to let the Hawks back into this one. Of course, it's the second night of a back-to-back. And LeBron James playing at 41 on a back-to-back. You would expect, hey, at some point, the Hawks would make a run. The Lakers ended up putting 81 points in the first half. It was their highest total in a half this season. They were 19 of 34 from beyond the arc, so the shooting was better. The Lakers, they win the game. That's all that matters. They got back in the win column. There was a team meeting before the game with JJ Redick and the Lakers, and after the game, the players were talking about how positive this team meeting was. LeBron James said it was about getting back to playing Laker basketball. Luka Doncic talked about it. DeAndre Ayton talked about it. And the Lakers, they get a dominant win. And they were up as much as 32. DeAndre Ayton, LaRavia, both had 13 points. Luka Doncic, he had another great game, and they found a way to get the dub. Luka scored 23 of his 27 points in the first half. He also ended up with 5 rebounds, 12 assists. LeBron James had 31 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists. Jake LaRavia, 17 points, 4 boards, 3 assists. Gabe Vincent, 10 points on 3 of 5 shooting. So he's a complete pro. Good showing for Gabe Vincent. And Marcus Smart had a good game too, 16 points on 5 boards. And DeAndre Ayton, a much-needed strong performance, 17 points on 18 with 18 rebounds. And that's what you want to see with him, being active on the glass. And then how about Rui Hachimura chipping in with 7 points all to himself. But the story yesterday was LeBron James, who was expected to sit it out, considering he's 41 years old, considering that it's a second out of a back-to-back, considering the fact that he's still making his way back from missing a good portion of this season. But LeBron decided to play, and he played extremely well. He was a big reason why the Lakers were able to win. And I think it really does kind of remind you just that we are in uncharted waters. This is never before seen territory for a player to be this good at this age. I'm not talking just about basketball. I'm talking about all the sports. Yes, Tom Brady won a Super Bowl in his 40s, but we're talking about a young man's NBA right now. So to put up 31 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists in 33 minutes, 12 of 20 from the field, it was a great surprise that he played in that back-to-back. And there was that little lull there in the third quarter where Luka and LeBron, it felt like they were just kind of in the center, but LeBron, he helped out and he hit that big corner three to start off that run in the fourth quarter. So a big A+ from LeBron James last night. But what really turned heads is what he said after the game about his routine. Here was LeBron James talking about his routine. And hey, checklists are good. Checklists are positive. Here was LeBron talking about it.
You mentioned a little bit. What was TBD today? Like, so you woke up at like normal time. Like,
normal time.
Yeah, like what was that? Could you kind of like really specifically walk us through like what?
You want to know exactly what I did today?
I would love to.
I woke up, got in the cold tub. I got in the cold tub. I got in the hyperbaric chamber. After the hyperbaric chamber, I took a nap. Then I played PGA EA golf.
Nice.
For a little bit, as I normally take my legs for 45 minutes. Then I took a shower, got dressed, and headed here. And once I got here, I did my normal game day routine: activation, treatment, rehabbing, stretching, lifting, mentally doing everything while I watched, TPG on the TV. Mm-hmm. And then me and Mike looked at each other, and he looked at me, asked me, "What you thinking?" And I said, "I think I feel pretty good." So, and there was a pregame meal in between there. Something.
I figured you probably did.
Yeah,
41 years old.
So I think for LeBron and Luka last night, they realized, hey, this team needs a spark. You need to end this losing streak. And he came out, he was phenomenal. It's pretty incredible to see what this guy is able to do at this age. And when you look at LeBron with the Lakers, who is 41 years old, versus LeBron in Miami, this year LeBron averaging 27.7 points per game, 7.7 rebounds, 7.8 assists, 55% shooting. With the Heat, 26.9 points per game, 7.6 rebounds, 6.7 assists, and 54.3% shooting. Yes, you get more possessions in this day and age. Yes, you have a more free style of basketball than it was even a couple years back. But still, for LeBron to be putting up similar numbers so many years after, it does feel like, look, checklists are a very powerful tool. I use myself, and LeBron used that checklist too. And it's definitely something that is very impressive to get him to see. But I think that last night, even the biggest LeBron haters have to appreciate the performance that he had. And at this point, look, I'm not on board with everything that comes from LeBron or his camp. We'll talk about Rich Paul here in a second. But we are going to miss LeBron James when he's gone. I mean, we are going to miss seeing a guy that's been this good. It defies what the human body is capable of. Like every time Father Time comes knocking on LeBron James' door, he opens it up and he punches him in the neck, and then he comes back in a couple of weeks. And after the game, JJ Redick was asked about LeBron, and he got up on a soapbox, and he had some pretty spicy things to say, calling out those who don't appreciate LeBron.
LeBron's first back-to-back of the season, arguably one of his best games of the season. What went into deciding that he was going to play in this back-to-back, and how impressive is it that he's able to do this at age 41?
I mean, there's no decision that gets made for him. Again, I said it a few times to start the season, uncharted territory. got hit in the quad in the fourth quarter. He's already in the ice bath. He's going to do everything he possibly can to play in his 23rd year. Like it's remarkable. His competitive stamina is off the charts. And we didn't expect him to be able to play. I mean, that's just the nature of a 41-year-old body who plays heavy minutes. And he just said, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to do everything I can, do my normal routine, and if I'm able to go. And same thing with Luka. So both those guys, I thought just completely led the group tonight. And it was evident. 22 assists between them. Obviously, they made some shots too, but I just thought they did a great job of leading the group. And I don't take for granted the LeBron stuff. It's unfortunate, actually, not to go on a little tangent here, but it's actually unfortunate how much this guy puts into it and how much he cares, and the way certain people talk about him. It's crazy. Come be around him every day and see how much this guy cares. It's off the charts.
So it's really not just about the accolades, the performance, how good he is, and him being that GOAT conversation. He has played more minutes than anyone in NBA history. Here's something that will blow your mind. He has played more playoff minutes, 12,062, than Steph Curry and James Harden combined. And playoff games, of course, they're even more difficult because it's high stress. You're going all out. Now, here's the thing, too. Look, I get it. Guys can play into their late 30s, into their 40s. It's very common now to see guys have success in the latter stages of their career. We're seeing it with Steph Curry. We're seeing it with Kevin Durant. But LeBron's a bigger dude, too. Physical, needs to get to the rim. And I think it's just a testament to the work that he's put in. Because, look, who's your GOAT? Let me know. But if you want to say LeBron's your GOAT, you can at least have that conversation. Now, Michael Jordan, on the other hand, he looked like a physical freak. He had a 49-inch vertical. He had the big hands. He was strong. And what was his checklist? So LeBron, he had the hyperbaric chamber and the playing golf and the workouts and the stretching. What was MJ's? Workout, play cards, do a round of golf, chug some beers, do some cigars, go to the blackjack table. And he played 82 games and in the playoffs. He never missed a game. So the ending here, and this is like, look, I think you can appreciate LeBron, but I don't think that this is the flex on the GOAT conversation that I think a lot of LeBron fans kind of think it is. I think that he's already certified. He's already GOATed. There's no doubt about it. But this is him. I mean, like he spends $1 million on his body, right? Every single year. I would like to have $1 million to spend on anything, and he spends it on his body, which has got to be a drop in the bucket for him. But I think for me, LeBron, the legacy's intact, but are things starting to get weird with him and the Lakers? So next topic, we're going to talk about Klay Thompson. Could Klay Thompson join the Los Angeles Lakers? Because John Ireland, on his ESPN radio show, he's the broadcaster for the radio broadcast for the Lakers. He said that if the Dallas Mavericks bought out Klay Thompson, that the Lakers would be the first team that he would call, or there'd be some communication. I think it's interesting. It's fun to talk about. Klay Thompson is one of those guys that we've talked about as being a Laker for so many years now. But the issue with Klay Thompson is, one, they're probably not going to buy him out. So there's that. And two, you're going to have to open up their books and make a trade to get him. So I don't think that, at least right now, this is something to even talk about, because I just don't think it's going to happen. Now, would I love to see him on the Lakers? Absolutely. I think Klay Thompson could improve the shooting. I still think he has got something left. Would he be the difference in a Luka, LeBron, Austin Reaves team winning a title? I don't think so. So at the end of the day, it's fun to talk about just because he grew up at Staples Center, loves Kobe Bryant's lore. His dad, Michael Thompson, is the analyst for the Lakers on the radio. But to think that this is going to happen, I'm just here to tell you, like, this is something that's extremely unlikely. This is something that you're not going to see tweet out from Shams Charania. I mean, Klay Thompson is, if he's going to be a Laker, the only way that you could really see that happening would be if he gets bought out. And that makes zero financial sense for the Dallas Mavericks unless he's willing to give up some money. So the Mavericks are bad. So check. They will be in the second apron next year. Check. If they're looking to cut some salary, we'll see. I think that's how you could clear a path. But the two big issues with this on the Lakers front is that the Lakers would need to trade someone, most likely, open up their books a little bit, make some moves. And then, two, if the Mavericks buy him out, you're buying out a player that's on a multi-year deal. That's something that's unlikely. It's not impossible. But, hey, the thing I want to say about this is, hey, Klay, now you want to become a Laker? Now you want to come to LA? I mean, the truth is, you want to play with Luka in Dallas. Now you want to play with Luka in LA. It'd be funny if that's how it all worked out, because that was one of the big reasons why he ended up with the Dallas Mavericks in the first place, was to play with Luka Doncic, and Luka Doncic could trade to the Lakers, and then he could maybe find his way on the purple and gold. So this is really on Klay at this point. I mean, the Lakers don't need older, bad defenders. But I would just say this. You made your bed. You got to sleep in it, Klay. And that bed, I think, still has Megan Thee Stallion, so you're chilling. But the truth is, I just don't think this is something that's very likely. But I just laid out how it could happen. So give me Klay Thompson on the Lakers, but under the right terms. Him forcing his way out of Dallas, him not being traded, and him trying to take a pay cut, which, hey, you're Klay Thompson, man. You've made a lot of money in your career. Maybe it's a possibility. Now, another trade we talk about, as the Lakers are concerned, is Kuminga. Could the Lakers swing a deal with the Golden State Warriors for Jonathan Kuminga? Could they add to their roster for a guy that could help them this year and in the future? Well, right now it's looking like at least it's something that is worth the conversation from both ends. The Lakers are reportedly monitoring Jonathan Kuminga as a trade target. The big question is, do they have the assets to get a deal done? NBA insider Jake Fisher, he reported that there is communication. He said, quote, "The Lakers did call Golden State about Kuminga. I'm told that the Lakers have likewise continued to monitor Kuminga's situation while casting a wide net to try to find help on a very limited wing market." Now, Kuminga did start the season strong with the Golden State Warriors. Steve Kerr was telling reporters that he had earned a starting role for that team. And then a few weeks later, Kuminga was out of the starting lineup for the Warriors. Now, Tony Jones of The Athletic, he said Monday, quote, "There are multiple reasons that Golden State can't wait to get him out of the building." So clearly it's an untenable situation with Kuminga and the Golden State Warriors. Kuminga wants out. He wants to play. He wants a better situation. And the Lakers, they need some help. If they're serious about contending this year, if they're serious about building around Luka Doncic, which we know they are, this is a player that can certainly improve the roster. And you look at his contract situation, he signed a 2-year, $46.8 million contract with the Warriors before the qualifying offer deadline this past fall. And the deal does include a $24.3 million team option for the 26-27 season. If the Lakers traded for Kuminga and he wasn't a good fit with Luka Doncic and potentially Austin Reaves, they could decline his option and just move off of him in the offseason without compromising their cap space. So that would be the worst possible scenario, right? You hope he comes in and then he's someone that helps you and you move forward with him. But that does give them the flexibility in the, hey, let's abort mission, right? let's press the eject button. It gives you the possibility of doing that. Now, the Lakers, if you look at their salary right now, they have $194.8 million in salary on their books. They got $1.1 million before they hit that first apron. And right now, they are one of those teams that can take back more salary than they send out in a trade. But they are hard capped, and they split their non-taxpayer mid-level exception between Jake LaRavia and DeAndre Ayton. So that means they can't cross the $195.9 million first apron at any point between now and June 30th. So if you look at Kuminga is earning $22.5 million this season. The only two Lakers players that are making more than him are LeBron James, who has a no-trade clause. We're going to get back to LBJ in a second here, and Luka Doncic. Both of those players aren't on the table. Both of those guys wouldn't be ones that you would trade. Reaves, he's making $13.9 million. Lakers, they're not going to want to include him for Kuminga unless maybe the Warriors really want him gone and really wanted Reaves and thought they could sign him long-term and want to include some first-round picks in that deal, which likely they would not. Now, Rui Hachimura is making $18.2 million. That would be the match salary-wise, but the Lakers would still need to include a little over $3 million on top of that. So you could do a deal with Rui Hachimura and Dalton Connect, or Rui Hachimura and Jackson Hayes. Now, if they don't want to include Rui, you've got Jared Vanderbilt at $11.6 million, Gabe Vincent at $11.5 million, Maxi Kleber at $11 million, and DeAndre at $8.1 million. The Lakers, they already owe their top four 2027 first-round picks to Utah. It's fully unprotected 2029 first-round pick to the Dallas Mavericks. You can't trade 2026. You can't trade 2020. You can't trade 2030 because of the rules. So there's those limitations. Now, the Warriors, you're not like in a great position to go out and say, oh, we're going to get big returns on Jonathan Kuminga, because the rest of the league knows it's dysfunctional there. They know he wants out. They know that he's not going to help your roster. And the other thing, too, is you probably don't want to take on contracts that are long-term deals, because Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, they're going to be off their books in 2027. So here's the thing. You could be starting that reset, that rebuild in Golden State, and Jared Vanderbilt, he's a $13.3 million player option in 27 and 28. Doesn't make too much sense, but Rui Hachimura is on an expiring deal that goes down to 44.5% of his 4.1. I mean, he's someone that really kind of makes sense because he's a pretty solid fit. So I think, honestly, this is a move where ideally you could offload some of those other guys, the Gabe Vincents, the Maxi Klebers, and maybe include a 3-team deal to make that happen. But here's what makes me feel pretty, at least, interested in this possibility, is just the fact that Lakers, they do have enough contracts that aren't these massive deals and these floor contracts. They have middle of the road level contracts, and they have some draft capital to be able to get a deal done for Jonathan Kuminga. And the Warriors and the Lakers, they might say, hey, this makes sense for both sides. So, I mean, there's one side that says maybe this is a trade Lakers should avoid. Kuminga is young. He's pricey for what he does. Has not really built that reliable jump shot. He's a below average defensive player, and he sees himself as a guy that needs the ball in his hands. He wants to be more of a high usage level player. So I'm not saying he's like the Cam Reddish of Jonathan Kuminga's or the Cam Reddishes of the what they have, but he's an interesting player. He's shown flashes. He's a very good player at times. He's had entire months where he's looked really solid, really good, but it's kind of one of those things where, is the zebra going to change his stripes? And does he have DeAndre Aytonitis? Of course, I'm only playing. I like DeAndre Ayton, but if you know what I mean when I say that. So there's where I'm at on Jonathan Kuminga. Now let's go to some beef. What's your beef? My beef is with Rich Paul and Clutch. And we got some new developments on a story that we've been talking about for the last couple of days here. And that is that Austin Reaves and his camp, they're not happy with LeBron James's camp in Clutch Sports and Rich Paul. And last night before the game, there was an interaction with Austin Reaves' agent and people in his circle and Rich Paul. So that tells you that there's something going on between the Lakers and Austin Reaves, Rich Paul and LeBron, with Rich Paul on this podcast with Max Kellerman, and they're talking about, I would call the Memphis Grizzlies for Jaren Jackson Jr., even though that makes absolutely no sense. But the rumor is that Austin Reaves' agent spoke to Rich Paul during the halftime events yesterday. So you had Chris Paul suggesting, okay, we're going to trade, if I'm the Lakers, go call Memphis, try to move on from Austin Reaves. That tells me that LeBron, Rich Paul, who knows? Is he feeding him that because LeBron doesn't think that Austin Reaves with Luka can help win him a championship this year? Does that mean that the Lakers are going to be influenced by Rich Paul in any way, shape, or form because of their relationship with Rich Paul? I don't think so. If you look at their roster, other than Tyrese Maxey, which Clutch Sports client are the Lakers really clamoring to go and sign? But ESPN's David Medeman reported, quote, one of Reeves' agents, Reggie Berry of AMR Agency. By the way, we have multiple agents. You're flexing. Like I got a whole team behind me. Austin Reaves has gone from undrafted, LeBron James, Hillbilly Mamba, to the dude's got a whole team. And one of his agents, Reggie Berry of AMR Agency, approached Rich Paul on the sideline near half court at halftime of the Lakers-Hawks game on Tuesday, and the two spoke for more than 5 minutes, and the topic of conversation was Paul's public trade scenario regarding Reaves, sources told ESPN. This is a concern. This is unacceptable behavior on both sides. This is why Rich Paul going on that podcast and kind of airing out the Lakers' business and commenting on the Lakers and their situation, it's not good for the team, because guess what? All distractions are bad, and LeBron James now has to talk about it. And LeBron, he's distancing himself from Rich Paul's comments. Even LeBron James is saying, hey, I want no part of this. When LeBron was asked about Rich Paul's comments on Austin Reaves, he said, I think you all know by now, Rich is his own man, and what Rich says is not a direct reflection of me and how I feel, and I hope people know that. I hope people know that if they're not sensible to know that, and I don't know what to tell them. Okay, sure, fine, say whatever you want, but the truth is people are going to assume that. You would also say, Rich has his perspective, what he sees. I have my perspective. I'm a grown man. I think people should realize that grown man can say whatever the F they want and say that it shouldn't reflect somebody else and saying it. So sure, fine. All that's true, but we know how tight he is with his team, Maverick Carter and Rich Paul and all those guys. And it's just one of those things where, if I'm LeBron, I'm pissed at Rich Paul if he's saying this kind of stuff. And I'm saying to Rich Paul, hey, more people are talking about you, talking about my teammate than me right now, because that's just a fact. And that's kind of one of those things where the Lakers, they just, even when LeBron has a really good game, even when LeBron goes out there and says, LeGoat James, and he gives his routine and he proves that what he's doing at 41 is just an incredible feat of human history and what the human body is capable of. Yeah, cool. But just imagine if it was the other way around. Imagine if Austin Reaves' agent was on a show and he was saying, yeah, you know what? the air is pretty stale in the Lakers locker room because of LeBron, because he's sucking up all the oxygen. They need to just trade him to the Warriors. Let's put an air freshener in that Lakers locker room because things are getting weird with LeBron. I think that the Lakers really should go to LeBron, who has a full no trade clause, and try to see if he'd take a trade from another team. Imagine if that happened. Imagine that would be one of the biggest stories in sports. If Austin Reaves' agent was pushing for the Lakers to trade LeBron, but LeBron's agent can push for the Lakers to trade Austin Reaves when he's in his final year under contract, heading into what could be a massive financial commitment. This is unacceptable behavior. It truly is. I mean, it blows my mind. It really, truly does. And I think that LeBron, I don't like the way he handled it, even in his comments saying, oh, he's his own man. I think what LeBron should say, he should have let off with, yeah, I disagree with what he said. I'm not trading Austin Reaves for anyone. That's my guy. We're in the foxhole together. We're going to war together. But instead, it's just being defensive and it's trying to basically disconnect himself from the situation. So the Lakers apparently aren't happy about it too. And that's the other angle of this as well. Jovan Bua, he reported on Monday, quote, I can confirm that people have not been happy. I'm not going to get more specific than that. I would say people have not been happy with that pod and some of the comments. So, look, I mean, I think that people always go on clips too. And Rich Paul said that Austin Reaves was a great player. He deserved a max, but that he didn't think it would work on a team built around Luka. So if anything, Rich Paul was kind of taking a shot at Luka too. That's the thing too. I don't think people realize that. Go back and rewatch the pod. Rich Paul essentially says that Austin Reaves is a great player that deserves the max contract, but that he doesn't think that he would work on a team built around Luka. So he's basically taking a big fat dump on Austin Reaves, and he's taking a big fat dump on Luka Doncic because he's saying that, hey, Reaves and Luka, that's not a championship mix. He's essentially saying that. So that's the latest on that. Lakers aren't happy. All right, let's switch gears. Give my Rams theme music. Where's my Rams theme music? Let's just ram it here for a second. There we go. There we go. There we go. I don't know, Robert, let's get your thoughts real quick, though. I mean, am I crazy to think that, Austin Reaves should be pissed, right?
Yeah, he should be. I mean, when it's the manager of arguably the star player, I know Luke is the star, but LeBron is still...
LeBron's LeBron. You're 100% right.
Yeah, and here's
the thing. As big as Luka is, he'll never be bigger than LeBron because the odds are no player ever will be outside of Michael Jordan.
Yeah, and the fact that, basically Austin Reaves has been carrying this team so far this season. I mean, LeBron's been in and out. Luka's been doing good, but it's really been Austin Reaves' team before he got injured, before the injury. So the year that he shows up and he gets disrespected like that, it's kind of weird.
I could not agree more. I think it's kind of one of those things where it's just we get it. You're on a podcast and you want to make headlines is a good way to do that. Cause anytime the show is a perfect example. We lead with the Lakers for a reason because the Lakers have a big following, but yeah, I just feel like there's just something weird building within the Lakers right now, and they got to put it to rest, or could be a bigger issue. But switching to the Rams, I'm gonna ram it again, baby. Whose house? Rams house. All right, the Rams, the Bears. We're gonna do a full preview tomorrow, but one stat concerns me a little bit. Matthew Stafford in his career, 1 for 9 in the rain and in the snow. It's going to be cold in Chicago. The weather could be under 15. The Rams are 3.5-point favorites. I'm very optimistic. I think there's a chance they could absolutely blow out the Chicago Bears like we talked about yesterday. And it's really interesting that the Rams and the Bears are meeting when they are. It's a perfect matchup for the Rams just because the defense for the Bears, like we pointed out yesterday, one of the worst to ever make it this far. But one thing I want to hit on specifically today is the penalties. And we're going to rewind here. We're talking some Puka Nacua. So Puka Nacua, who is established himself as one of the best receivers in the NFL. And it's him, it's Jamar Chase, it's Jackson Smith and Jigba. People are saying that, he's a slot merchant. He can only play against zone coverages. He can only play against Matthew Stafford. He doesn't have any great elite tools because he's not the fastest and have the best hands. Guess what? You don't know ball. The truth is that he uses his physicality to create space. And yes, having a great play caller, having great coaching helps you, but Puka Nacua uses size, strength, and physicality better than any receiver in the NFL. And that is his calling card. Guess what? Jerry Rice didn't run a 4.3 40. Jerry Rice wasn't the best physical freak ever either, but Puka Nacua is an elite receiver. But what I want to touch on is this. The Rams had 9 penalties for 83 yards. And I'm going to break out my Dexter music because I have a new theory today. My theory yesterday was that Bill Simmons had created the Rich Ball podcast to make a schism between the Lakers. My theory today, though, is that the officiating has been just a little different since Puka Nacua said what he said about the referees. When Puka Nacua was on Aiden Ross's and Neon Stream, he said, quote, "The refs are the worst. They want to be on TV too." You don't think he's texting his friends in the group chat like, "Yo, you guys just saw me on Sunday Night Football. That wasn't PI, but I called it." Now, you might think that post meant nothing. You might think that Puka meant nothing by that, but it's pretty interesting. After Puka said that, after he made those comments, the Rams have been called for more penalties. The Rams have, under Sean McVay, been one of the least penalized teams in the National Football League. But since Puka's comments over the last 4 weeks, the offense has all of a sudden had more penalties they've had for a long time. They've accounted for an average of 3.25 penalties per game to the defense's 2. So the offense is getting penalized more than the defense. Before week 16, that ratio was 1.9 penalties for the offense and 1.7 penalties for the defense. The Rams have been penalized 8 more times in 2 of the previous 4 games. Before week 16, the Rams had been penalized at most 7 times back in week 1. The Rams went from averaging 4.2 penalties per game to 6.3. Offense has 13 penalties, while the defense has 8. They had 83 penalty yards against the Panthers. That's the most for the Rams since wild card weekend last year when they beat the Vikings. So I find that interesting. Of course, that's a small sample size, but if the Rams continue to get penalized more, and this is significantly more, it's going to start to make me think, are they reacting to what Puka Nacua said on that stream? It's very interesting. And you know what the sad thing is? Puka Nacua said the quiet part out loud. He's 100% correct. NFL officiating is downright terrible. It's atrocious. And another theory, going to the Luka Doncic trade, reverting to that, is, are these officials, are they throwing flags? Are they trying to cook these games? Because what has been the story in the NFL? That this has been the best wild card weekend in years. All the games are competitive. It almost feels like the NFL is going to get back at the NBA for hijacking Super Bowl week when Adam Silver cooked up the Luka Doncic to the Lakers trade. Of course, I'm only messing around, guys. Don't worry. But yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the penalties moving forward and how that impacts the Rams. So we're going to do a full preview. We got our big keys to the game. One thing I want to talk about the Rams too is Davante Adams and the comments that he made to Stephen A. Smith, saying that he wants to stay with the Rams, stay with Matthew Stafford, stay with Sean McVay forever. And I find it pretty interesting, right? Everyone said Davante Adams was washed. Everyone said that he was done, that he was cooked. He was bad with the Raiders, bad with the Jets. Well, guess what? He's great on the Rams. Thanks to Matthew Stafford, leads the league in touchdowns. 14 catches in the end zone for Davante Adams. And I do think that Davante Adams should come back if things go well. But I also think the Rams could draft a receiver and draft a cornerback. So we'll see. So it's great to see Davante Adams as happy as he is. And the number one thing for the Rams on the injury front right now is Sean McVay is optimistic that Kevin Dotson is going to be ready to go for the Bears game. McVay said, quote, he's got a good look in his eye. I know his intentions are to be able to play and do his thing. So we're excited about that. So he was missed last week. He was. The team scored 34 points on 411 yards. But Matthew Stafford was sacked once. He was pressured 8 times. They abandoned the run when they should have been a little more committed to toting the rock on the ground with Kyren Williams and Blake Corum. And Stafford was sacked 4 times and pressured 19 times in the 2 full games since Kevin Dotson has been out. So getting him back on that offensive line, that's going to be massive. It's going to give Stafford more time, and they're going to have to lean on that running game. But I still think the Rams, big. I got the Rams winning by double digits. Is it 10? Is it 20? I have a lot of confidence in the Rams heading into Chicago. All right, so switch gears. I want to talk some Kyle Tucker really quick here, because I know the Dodgers fans are a little sick of talking about Kyle Tucker, right? This isn't Juan Soto. This isn't Shohei Ohtani. This isn't one of the massive big free agents, but he's the biggest guy that we've seen right now. He's the number one free agent this offseason. Well, the latest on Kyle Tucker is that the New York Mets have likely offered him a 4th year on that contract. So the years are increasing for Kyle Tucker, and you're talking about a contract right now for Tuck at 4 years and $200 million. That's an insane amount. How do you not just put pen to paper right away if you're Kyle Tucker? And the question is, what are the Toronto Blue Jays offering him? Because if it's anywhere close to that dollar amount, what is it? Like I have a feeling that it's probably 8 or 9 years for some like 325 to 350. So I think if you're going to compete with 4 years and $200 million, 8 years, $350 million, I think you have to start there. So there's not been a lot of leaks from Toronto as far as the years. I'd say it's probably in the range of 10 years, 340, 10 years, 350. But it's interesting that no money has been leaked on the Toronto side. I really find that pretty interesting. It's probably $34 to $40 million a year. Could it be 8 to 9 million for 300 million, 8 to 9 years for 300 million? That's another possibility. But with the 4th year in play, I'm more inclined to believe that 50 million AAV, I mean, it could honestly be made up. I mean, I just don't know that you would sit on a 4-year, $200 million deal for that long. I mean, hey, at this point, Steve Cohen's going to offer him 1 year and $200 million. So we'll see. Are there deferrals? But the truth is, if I'm the Dodgers at this point, I'm pretty sure I've seen everything that I've needed to see to let me know that Kyle Tucker doesn't want to be a Dodger. And at this point, if I'm the Dodgers, I'm saying get the Tuck out. Like, you have 2 options, my man. You can sign a 4-year, $200 million deal with the New York Mets. You can sign a 10-year, $350 million deal with the Toronto Blue Jays. Or you can sign with us 3 years, $140 million, 3 years, $150 million with opt-outs after every season, and you can win a World Series. And most importantly, you can bet on yourself, have a great year, win a championship, reestablish yourself as one of the best hitters in baseball, which there are some questions about. Okay, he's missed a lot of time. He's missed over 100 games last couple of seasons. There's a lot of people I've talked to that said, hey, sometimes there's an injury with Kyle Tucker that should take maybe a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, takes a month, 2 months, right? So it might be time to get the Tuck out if you're the Dodgers and say, you know what? You can either lose to us and make $50 million a year, or you can win with us and make $40 million a year, or win with us and make $45 million a year. It wouldn't sit right with me that he'd begin the same present day AAV as Shohei Ohtani. But the thing with Kyle Tucker is this. He's really good. He's great at times. He's not a Hall of Famer. And he won't be a Hall of Famer. That's not where his career is trending. So I think what would really be his legacy is you go to a team, you help them win a World Series as an all-star. That's ultimately your legacy. And I got news for you. The LOL Mets aren't the team that you want to bet on. They haven't proven anything. They have not proven anything. And that's why I laugh every single time when there is a Dodgers hater out there, there is a casual fan out there that's saying, oh, they just bought their team. Oh, they just paid for that World Series. They're bought, not built. No, they're built, not bought. Because even when they did sign big free agent targets, they have earned their way through that, right? Because of what this organization's turned into, because of the fan base, because of 50,000 fans going to Dodger Stadium every night, because of all the history of this franchise and developing such a dedicated fan base, what does Andrew Friedman say? We reward the fans for their passion. So the truth is that the Mets are the team that you should always include in conversations if you're trying to defend the Dodgers. The second someone tries to criticize the Dodgers for their spending, you can say, look at the Mets, look at the Yankees, look at the Blue Jays, look at the Phillies. There's other teams out there that are spending money that aren't winning World Series titles. The Dodgers are the team that's actually doing it. And I think that if you're the Dodgers, you look at the fact that you already signed Edwin Diaz and you already signed a player that was extended the qualifying offer. And because of that, well, you've already forfeited the draft picks and you've already lost some international bonus pool money. So if you would sign a Kyle Tucker, you want to be penalized from that. The question they have is, since they've already gone past that CBT so many years, he's going to be 110% of whatever the value you're going to ultimately give him. So is he worth $90 million to you for 1 year, $100 million for you for 1 year? Does he move the needle that much? I think they would look at it as, hey, we get Tucker, that means we don't have to give up prospects to trade for a guy. So that brings me to another rumor from my man Klein. Love Klein from the Incline podcast. He was throwing out Stephen Kwan as a rumored player that the Dodgers could be interested in. Well, here's what they're going to have to do. The Dodgers were 18th out of 30 teams as far as outfield production. So the 5 moves that they could make, and we're going to talk about this a little later, is you could sign Cody Bellinger, which I don't think is going to happen. I expect him to sign with the Yankees. He wants 7 years. They want less than that. Maybe he signs for 6 years. I expect Cody Bellinger to be in pinstripes unless things completely fall apart with that. You could sign Harrison Bader. Defensive first guy, not an offensive first guy. Definitely would improve your offense, but not a massive needle mover. But then I think you dip into the trade market. I think that a Wilyer Abreu makes a lot of sense. Young, good defender, solid bat, wouldn't have to cost you the farm. Jarren Duran, if you think that he could find a way to hit lefties in your organization, that would make a lot of sense. Stephen Kwan, the issue with that is if the Dodgers are still interested in him, which I believe Klein, because when the Dodgers are interested in you once, they're always interested in you, right? They always think that they can make you a better player. They don't view players like other teams view players, right? They view players with how they think they'll perform in their organization. So Stephen Quad's another option. Also, Brandon Donovan's an option. Also, Lars Newbar's an option. But let's get past the offseason already. I'm ready for pitchers and catchers to report. I'm ready for spring training. I think Kyle Tucker is just not that interesting to be on Tuck Watch, right? Every single day. Just sign your contract. If it's with the Mets, fine. Get your money, take your losses. You're not going to win a World Series. If it's with the Blue Jays on a longer-term deal, I think I would respect that more than the Mets. But if you want to win, get with the winners here in LA. All right, next topic here, and we'll get to you guys in the chat. Can't really see how many minutes we're at, but 50? Okay, so we've got Greg Roman is out in LA, of course, for the Chargers. Still the San Diego Chargers to me. They always will be. And gosh, they were so awesome in San Diego. I really think so. But thinking about his replacement and where the real Chargers are at is the Chargers, they're in a really good spot where they have some pieces. You've got talent, young talent, right? You've got Omarion Hampton. You got Justin Herbert. You've got Jim Harbaugh at the helm. You got Quinn Johnson. And the truth is, with Justin Herbert, you can't expect him to win a Lombardi trophy with a bad coordinator in Greg Roman. We broke it down a couple of days ago. I mean, he was absolutely atrocious as the offensive coordinator for the Chargers. But here's the thing. It's kind of thinking more about this is when I look at Justin Herbert, you can't just have a perfect situation and that's the only way you can have success. Like, he's got to find a way to put himself in a position where he can make chicken salad chicken, you know what, sometimes. And I want to see that from him. But I'm going to run down a quick list of OC candidates for the Chargers. How about Mike McDaniel, former Dolphins head coach? He's already been on 4 head coaching interviews, but he's also taken an offensive coordinator interview with the Detroit Lions. McDaniel would be interesting. Todd Monken, former Ravens offensive coordinator. This is kind of a familiar situation for the Chargers. Turning to Monken, spent the last 3 seasons with John Harbaugh. That could be an option. How about Jake Peetz, the Seahawks passing game coordinator? They had a lot of success this year with Sam Darnold, a lot of success with Jackson Smith and Jigba. I would like Justin Herbert in that Seattle-style offense. Drew Terrell, the Cardinals passing game coordinator. Travis Switzer, the Ravens run game coordinator, could be an interesting option. With McDonald's Seahawks, they interviewed him for their coordinator job last offseason. So he's been in the mix, and he's been in Baltimore his entire life, but Switzer could be an option too. How about Ronald Curry, the Bills quarterbacks coach, Scotty Montgomery, the Lions assistant head coach? How about Jason Michael, the Eagles tight ends coach, David Shaw, the Lions passing game coordinator, Brian Dable, former Giants head coach, Frank Smith, the Dolphins offensive coordinator. How about this? A wild card one. JT Barrett has done a great job in Chicago. The former Ohio State quarterback, working under Ben Johnson, working with Caleb Williams. He's being viewed as one of the fastest risers in the industry in coaching circles. He's done a great job developing Caleb Williams. So that's, I think, a wild card, interesting one. Josh McCown, the Vikings quarterbacks coach, is another one. But this is going to be the most important hire that the Chargers make for the next decade. Right here, right now, is going to decide the Chargers' fate. It absolutely is. They have to nail their next offensive coordinator hire because they need to take full advantage of prime Justin Herbert. All right, switching to the Olympics. So the ticket draw for the 2028 Summer Games, the first in the U.S. in 30 years, the first time it's been in Los Angeles since 1984. It'll be the third time the Olympics has been LA, 32, 84, and now 28. Well, Wednesday this morning, they opened up the registration period for tickets. It runs through March 18th. There have been some fans on social media saying that it has been a pretty timely process, to say it nicely. The registration opened up at 7 a.m. Pacific, and fans in Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, Ventura, San Bernardino, Oklahoma, and some Canadian Cleveland counties can put in their zip code. It's pretty interesting. I'm not sure why Cleveland, but sure there's going to be some games there for certain sports. And you can enter a lottery. So fans are going to be notified via email beginning on March 31st if they've been assigned a time slot through the lottery with rolling ticket drops starting in April. Fans are encouraged to register early in case every event and certain events are already sold out. And it's really interesting because fans are allowed to purchase up to 12 tickets per person for the Olympics. And if they don't purchase the maximum during that time slot, they're automatically entered for future draws. And the single event tickets, they start at $28. Of the 14 million tickets, 1 million tickets are going to be set at $28. So you're going to have so many fans, so many people traveling to Los Angeles, and it's going to be really exciting. Casey Wasserman, the Bruin, by the way, the chairman, he said the games belong to everyone. These games have to be affordable and inclusive, especially for the communities in Los Angeles and Oklahoma City where competitions will take place. The Olympics, which began on July 14th, the opening ceremony is going to be at the Coliseum and SoFi Stadium. They're going to be spread out through all of Southern California, and it's going to be exciting here in Southern California. So I think the top 7 events that I would want to be at, I think it's tough to say that you want to be at anything other than the Olympic basketball. You want to see the men's hoops. You want to see the swimming. You want to see Katie Ledecky. We'll see if Simone Biles is still in the mix. And we're going to talk about kind of the track and field is always awesome when Usain Bolt was doing his thing. And it's going to be cool because it's going to be at the LA Memorial Coliseum. But I think the most interesting thing to start, though, is who is going to light the cauldron at the end. And I got my countdown. We'll end the show on this. My countdown on who is going to have that torch, light the cauldron at the end. So 5, actually my honorable mention, if you really want to endear yourself to Los Angeles, you would have Vanessa Bryant, her daughters, and them representing Kobe Bryant. That's not going to happen. But if you really want to include them in some way, because Kobe Bryant is an Olympic gold medalist, I think that'd be a fantastic gesture. LA fans will love you forever. But my top 5 would be Joan Benoit is an interesting one. She was the first woman to win Olympic gold medal in women's marathon. So she was the first woman to win Olympic gold medal in 1984 in a sport and event that did not include women at the time. She ran alone for 21 miles while 90,000 fans stood and waited for her in the Coliseum. In 1984, the Olympics was the first time that women were allowed to compete in Olympic marathon. And what was really interesting, if you go back and watch highlights of this, she breaks away from the rest of the field right away. And that always is a risky move. She ends up running 21 miles all by herself. And then towards the end, she breaks into a tunnel. Fans start freaking out because they thought that she was exiting the race and retiring. And all of a sudden, she breaks through the LA Coliseum and the fans go crazy. She won gold in 2 hours, 24 minutes, and 52 seconds. The first women's Olympic marathon champion in history. That's a possibility. That's a deeper cut. It did happen in 84 in LA, so that's why I think it could be interesting. But 4, I've got Magic Johnson. I think Magic Johnson, Olympic gold medalist from LA, that's always a possibility. I think that's a strong move for sure. There's no issues with that. But I think now this is where the conversation begins. I think it comes down to Michael Jordan. I got Michael Jordan. I've got Michael Phelps and the Williams sisters. I think ultimately it's going to be Michael Phelps. I think Michael Phelps, the best Olympian of all time, the greatest Olympic champion of all time, 23 gold medals. In Atlanta, it was Muhammad Ali, so they did not have to make it just about Atlanta. So it's about our entire country. Why don't we just bring our best Olympian ever, which is considered to be the best Olympian ever? So it's got to be Michael Phelps. I think the Williams sisters make a lot of sense. 4 gold medals. They are from LA, trained in Florida. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player. He's the part of the dream team. It's Michael Phelps. It's going to be Michael Phelps. It better be Michael Phelps. All right, last thing here. We got this new logo. You want to pop that up here? You know, let's pop that. We'll run that tomorrow, actually.
Yeah,
we'll run that tomorrow because it's a really cool logo in Long Beach. But join me a little bit. We're going to hit Dodgers Dugout Live with Will Klein in just a few moments here. But thank you for joining us here for this jam-packed episode of the LA Sports Report. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me.
Before we get out, D-Mac, just real quick, we did have one super chat.
Let me bang those chats real quick. Let me see. Let's show that screen. Let's hit those chats really quick here. We got, let me drag it a little to the right here so you can see it. We got True Seeker. Let's go, D-Mac. Tucker update, please. $5 super chat. Awesome. D-Mac is cooking, LOL. We've got pitching wins games. All in on Scuba, Mario Landavarde. Yeah, we'll talk Dodger baseball a little bit. What's this one from Roseman Carino? I'm going to drag that to the right. Can't see the camera. We other way. We got D-Mac needs to compete for the gold medal when it comes to doing the worm. LOL. Okay, yeah, I'll try to enter that. Just signed Bo Bichette and trade for an outfitter. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of the LA Sports Report. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Do your boy a favor, hit the like button, and tell all your friends about the show. If you got friends, family that are Dodgers fans, Lakers fans, Rams, Chargers, USC, UCLA, the Olympics, anything that's going on in the world of LA sports, we're going to be talking about it here at the LA Sports Report. And until next time, LA is the city of champions.